Alright, so Samsung has just revealed their new Samsung S21 series, which in Australia will be made available to pick up from the 29th of Jan, next week from the date of filming this video. Now, I was curious to see what they felt like in the hand. So after a cheeky lunch out at an awesome brunch place called Cedric's in the city, I headed into the Samsung store to check out what these new puppies could do. So starting off with the S21, if I were to purchase any of the new S21 phones, it would probably be this one. The number one reason is the price for what you get. At a retail of 1,299 Australian dollars with bonus Galaxy Buds Plus, or an education store price of 999 Australian dollars with a bonus wireless trio charger, these come in at about $200 cheaper at time of release than the previous S20 5G model. Now sure, Samsung have done away with some of the premium features of the S20 series or S21 series, but honestly, when I look at what they have done, I think the majority of users will not notice that much of a difference. For one, Samsung has done away with the microSD card slot. Now, I used to only buy phones with microSD expansion to help me store movies, music, photos, etc. But the tech world, it's massively changed, and since moving to my daily, the OnePlus 7 Pro, check out my video review in the description below, #shameless plug, I have subsequently found it more convenient to use streaming services or cloud services like Netflix, Spotify, Google Photos as replacements for SD storage. Now, the second thing is in handling the S21, I honestly didn't mind the change from the Gorilla Glass back to a polycarbonate back. Now, it shares the same matte finish as that of the Gorilla Glass that is now on the S21 Plus and Ultra only. It's comfortable to hold, slightly more durable from accidental drops as opposed to glass, and it comes in a variety of other colors that you don't get in the higher-end models. Thirdly, there's no longer the option of 12 gigabytes of RAM for the S21 and S21 Plus. You are stuck with 8 gigabytes. However, if the Exynos 2100 is what Samsung truly says it is, the reduction of RAM should not matter as much as it did in the S20 or S10 series. So let's be honest here, the previous Exynos processors were trash when compared to their Snapdragon counterparts. They were more power hungry and they were slower to boot. Having an extra 4 gigabytes of RAM as an option, sure, it may have helped in reducing the gap in performance with the Snapdragon, but closing that gap completely required a complete overhaul of the processor. So hopefully this is what Samsung has done this time round, but let me know in the comments below if you would like me to test this out in real life. Okay, finally, in the list of things that Samsung has cost cut, we have the reduction of screen resolution from QHD to 1080p. When it comes down to it, I think that on the smaller S21, it is not that much of a big deal. A pixel density of 421 ppi is nothing to scoff at, particularly when competing models such as the iPhone 12 have similar pixel densities of 460. And when you add on Samsung's OLED technology as well as high refresh rate, the color, the vibrancy, the brightness, the smoothness, these will instantly make you forget about the resolution being that little bit reduced from its predecessors. I have to be honest that when I was in store and using the S21 Ultra, I didn't even realize that the screen was set at 1080p as a default until I went into the settings menu. So your experience might differ, but I don't think that that drop in resolution is a deal breaker. The other quick thing to point out about the S21 and S21 Plus screens is that one, they're flat without curves at the edges now, and two, that the bezels are slim, particularly at the bottom. They're slimmer than the S21 Ultra, and this is something that I absolutely dig. Android phones for ages have had these fat, annoying chins at the bottom, unlike the iPhone, so I'm glad that Samsung has done away with that trend. And the flat screen, I mean, I used to be a sucker for the curved glass displays that we used to have, but in terms of less accidental prone touches, this is all for the better. Okay, so we should move on to talk about the camera systems. On all the S21 series, the camera module now smoothly blends into the side frame, which aesthetically looks a lot better than the previous S20 series, particularly that S20 Ultra. The S21 Plus and S21 have a 3 camera setup consisting of a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera at 0.5 times magnification, a 12 megapixel wide angle lens at 1 times, and a 64 megapixel telephoto lens at 3 times zoom. The S21 Ultra upgrades the wide-angle main lens with a 108 megapixel sensor, and it has a dual telephoto setup with a 10 megapixel 3x lens in addition to a 10 megapixel 10x periscope lens. Now the utility of this is to allow a smooth zoom gradient between the wide-angle lens, the 3x zoom and the 10x zoom, and it also helps with that 100x space zoom feature that is absent from the S21 and S21 Plus. For me, these are absolutely useless features because I never use 10x zoom in any of my photo taking, and because of this, I definitely wouldn't upgrade to the S21 Ultra just for the cameras alone. In saying this, across the S21 series, Samsung has added new features to help enhance the camera experience, including the option to turn off face smoothing in selfie mode, the ability to capture raw, unedited photos, and a new director's mode that allows you to film from both the selfie and rear cameras simultaneously. Now, before I wrap up this video, I just wanted to give some quick thoughts on the handling of the S21 Ultra. It definitely is a thicker boy when it comes to the S21 Plus and S21. Surprisingly though, in other dimensions, it almost has the exact same footprint as the S21 Plus. It's a bit slipperier to handle given the size and the matte surface of the back, but if you are used to big phones, then it's in familiar territory. Okay, to wrap up, I think Samsung has definitely chosen to cost cut in the right areas for this year's S21 range. For me, the value buy is absolutely the S21, but ultimately what is holding me back is the unknown potential of this new Exynos 2100 processor. If this new 5nm processor delivers the same, or if not better, real-world performance and power efficiency than the Snapdragon 888 counterpart, then count me in. But until that happens, I can't, with good consciousness, keep buying Samsung phones when they offer better alternatives in the US and South Korea. So that's about it for this one. Remember to like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll keep my eye out, but until the next one, see ya.